Alright, hey everybody, this is Quom, trying to go through a guide real quick on how to kite. Currently level 44, Bard on project 1999, red server. Alright, so I've been here for quite some time. I think I started kiting in this zone once I got my level 18 spell. I did it on the northwest side. Now it was the northeast side of the map. I found it was like the easiest place to do it. At about level 22, 23, it started kind of dying off in its effectiveness because of the fact that all of the mobs started to become yellow spawn. So from that point, I kind of moved away. I just went a couple zones over and went to League of Omen. And then I eventually came back here once I got right around 26 or 27 or so. Then I was actually able to start landing more of my spells on those red mobs that were here in the south. So there's a particular area that I kind of do this around. I've been essentially grabbing all my guildies every time they're online, and getting them some free experience. This place isn't too terribly camped, but the experience is just phenomenal, not to be shared, and it really does build some of the friendships and the social aspect. If you're a new player on the server, it helps you out a lot. As people really do appreciate getting 1 or 2 levels every hour, believe it or not. Pretty crazy theory, right? So as you can tell, what I do is I kind of run around. I don't use daggers because I don't like getting so damn close to mobs. So I use my slow pull spell. It helps me kind of because my twisting, you can see from time to time that I actually do drop my Salos. So snaring the mobs and slowing them in the event that it does kind of backfire helps me out a little bit. So it's a short duration snare. So it usually wears off by the time I'm getting ready to grab everybody up, start circling them. And it does keep aggro pretty good, so if there's another Bard out here, like this guy Cancer, he tries to PK me every time I'm out here. Looks like he's grouped with a couple of my guildmates at this time, so I don't have to worry about that, but in the event that somebody does try to PK you, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. Oh. Yeah, this guy's Cantor, he's pulling right now, so I'm just going to grab a couple of these guys. Keep an eye out for him in case he does decide that he wants to try and attack me again. He's pretty good. He uses a couple skills to attack people with his drum to keep his run speed up. That are pretty good single target spells. So I only use 3 spells actually whenever when I'm doing a swarm kite, right? So I use my Celos. I use my Dot, my Denon's Disruptive, and then I use my Celos Consonant Chain, which is actually my pull spell, my pull song. I want to try and have other spells up because of the fact that I'm on red that I can use to kind of get myself out of a sticky situation. And by sticky situation, I mean, another Bard tries to jump on me and kill me, or another caster's trying to lock me in place and essentially get me killed by my train, and then take all of my low HP mobs as they run away and burn them down for quick XP. So that's a real thing. It happens. It's already happened to me once. So let's see. I run around here. I loop around looks like the southeast side, and the south, and then along the east walls. And I essentially grab everything that does not run at SO speed. All right. I do that, one, because when I do kite, you'll see, I don't use silos. I use a technique that I picked up from somebody else here on P99. And it works pretty well, especially against mobs that don't have so. If I do get one, I like to have my charm spell up, or my charm song up, so that I can quickly hit them and then send them into my mob and get them off of me. Sometimes if there's just too many and I get out of range and I don't get comfortable, I try to train that guy into one of these dragons that you see running around the zone. So be careful, unless you're a dark race or illusion, those dragons will kill you, or dragoons will kill you. So just be mindful of that. And they also they'll rape the hell out of your swarm. You can spend 20 minutes pulling a master swarm. You accidentally run the entire swarm on top of one of those dragoons, and they essentially wasted your time because they're just going to destroy everything, and they'll pull the aggro off of you. So just something to keep your mind on. So I've noticed that these tigers and the rhinos are not necessarily aggressive, all right? Unless you run directly over the top of them, they usually don't jump on you. The only time I've ever gotten one of them is I come up over a crest and I turn around, go like that, and I look back and then, oh shit, you know, or a rhino's right in front of you, or a tiger's in front of you, and then essentially you'll go grab back at that point. But I've been pretty lucky up to this point to only have it happen once, and I was able to take care of it pretty quickly by either, like I said, you know, dragging them on top of one of those dragoons, while my train was still significantly farther behind, or by getting my charm off if I had it memmed, and sending him back into the group. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get my charm up, because I don't really trust the dragoons. And I don't want to try and run around if I do start getting PK'd. I don't want to have to deal with that burden. So you don't necessarily have to be too particularly geared for this. I'm not geared whatsoever. It's not my first tune. It wasn't my main, but once I started leveling with him, I always realized that I wanted a bard. And then once I figured out a way to actually swarm Kite effectively, more effectively than I was doing it, it's a lot easier to do it. It just takes a little bit of time. The old way I was doing it, I watched my buddy back in like 2002. We used to play on one of the Zek servers on live. He had a bard, and I watched the way that he was doing it, so I tried to mimic that. I did put a lot of thought into it, but it was very painful on your hands, because they would get cramped up. He wasn't very effective. He would get hit a lot. Essentially, he would just put auto run and just tap the left and right keys, and run circles, and then every now and then twist. Back then, we had Melody's ability, so you could just punch your songs that you wanted to twist and in the order, and you hit the button once, and then it's just going to do its thing. So all you had to focus was turning and switching out his instruments for max effectiveness. I'm getting tells. These are all the guys I usually I group with. Alright, so I'm going to run around and try to loop again one more time, and I'm going to do this kite. Alright, so I'm going to loop this around one more time, and I'm just going to go with what I got. A lot of these mobs that spawn, I'm not really sure of how the spawn locations work yet for this area. But it does seem like that as I pull mobs out of an area, the other ones start to spawn. It may just be coincidental. It may be that they just rapidly spawn and they have a max number that they can have in an area. I'm not really sure, but I just know that there's more than enough mobs for probably like 2 to 3 bards to be sitting here doing this. And then there's still enough room, even with that occurring, for groups up along the wall to be pulling their mobs individually as well. So, I mean, there's just an absurd amount of mobs in over there. It's crazy. The XP starting to get a little slow. I'm looking to probably try to get to 46 if it's still bearable, and then I'm gonna look to go somewhere else. Yeah, we're just gonna roll with that. So that building right there, be careful. There's caster Sarnax in there that do not aggro, or they'll aggro you, and that they're not very good for or conducive to your health and to your swarm. So just be mindful of that. Alright, so look at all my guys are starting to collapse on top of me now. There's a couple other mobs that I could probably tag throughout this process, but I'm just going to go ahead, take them up over here to this area, and camp, and try to knock them down. I'll show you my technique real quick. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of sit over here and wait for him to collapse on top of me, and then I'll round him up with my cellos, and then once I'm ready, throw my horn on, drop my cellos, and then start my Denon's Disruptive. I'm sorry, yeah, my dot. Some people rotate them, I don't. I really just don't care about having 2 songs up. Mostly, if the range was a little bit larger on my level 2 spell, I would consider it. I mean, it's just another button click, but because of the fact that it just requires me to get too close, and I don't like corpse running. I'm just gonna stick with what's effective and safer. Because I can do more. It's much more enjoyable. Not like Diablo 3 where you die, you have to repair your equipment, but I find it much more conducive to the experience when you're not dying left and right. Even the sheer fact that you're getting crazy amounts of XP. We're not going to talk about that, but I just have much more fun with it. Yep, see, this goes fucking Cantor guy again. Ah, this guy. Alright, so I'm ready for a pull. I just want to see what this guy's thinking about before he, before I start doing this. Alright, fuck, let's do it. So at this point, I switch my drum. Alright. Alright, switch my drum. What I do is I kind of go to this third-person view, drop my cellos, I strafe forward, and with the, I hold the forward key, and I use my strafe to kind of go at an angle away from the mob, and I pull tight. And the bottom left-hand side of my screen is where I look. I can hear the mobs coming up on top of me, right? And I try to get them to fall. Alright, it looks like I didn't set my songs up very well. Let me walk out of here. I use these hotkeys, but I failed at inspecting it before I started. My song is not number 5, it's number 4. Alright, so let's change that. Now let's go back to business. Turn around, loop back around. Alright, so again, Christ reverted. I'm not gonna edit that out. Yep, there, Denon's working. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is switch my drum out, burn my cellos, wait for him to come. Essentially, again, I'm just gonna go forward, kite to the left or the right, opposite the direction I'm turning, and I'm just gonna slowly mouse turn in that direction. Now, the key indicators to know how close I'm getting: one, essentially all your songs will land and you'll see it, but you kind of want the arms and the legs and possibly the heads of the guys to be in the bottom left or right hand corner of the screen. And you want to listen for them. When you hear them walking up on top of you, you know that you're close. See, Cantor just added me. All right, his train is coming. All right, now he's doing his thing. This is going to be awesome because he's got a train going, I got a train going, so these guys are about to get some pretty nice XP. Alright, so my group's right on my 6. I hear them, I'm going to turn slightly in, get my song going. That time, see, they were too far away. I'm just going to turn slightly to the left until I see them in the corner of my screen, then I know I'm good. And I'm just going to hold that pattern. Yep, there they go. So now my songs should land, and then they did. And maybe I will be able to hit that other group and get 2 song stacks going. The nice thing though is you want to make sure that your weight's good, right? And your sensitivity on your mouse, you turn it down just a little bit. I happen to have a gaming mouse, so I can have a quick access button to dial up the sensitivity for what I'm pulling and bring it down for whatever I'm swarming. This helps you from actually getting turned around and getting smashed by your swarm. The thing about the swarm is whenever, if for any reason that they get on top of me, I'm going to be dead. There's just no stunning or anything that's going to happen. I'm just going to be straight dead. Oh, so there's another hit. Now I'm going to try to pull away from this other swarm a little bit because I don't want anything unfortunate to happen. Here we go. So that should be about enough space. I'll see when I wrap back around. But I'm going to dial this in, find my pattern. If I ever need to break away, I just kind of let my guy run out a little bit just like that. And that'll create a really nice buffer between me and my swarm. And then it gives me time to go down and mouse click my my Celos or hit the hotkey for it. The keyboard I have right now, the key is kind of ghost, so it doesn't. It's my work key, my work keyboard. I use it for. It's got a card reader in it, so. This is it. It's simple. Nice hand posture, very relaxed. I turn from time to time, and I twist to one song with my horn on, and it does quite a bit of damage. Once I get it in a pattern, I don't have to worry about any external elements. Say PKs, random mobs that are getting close to where I don't want in my swarm. KOS mobs that are a lot stronger than me, or running off the side of a cliff. It really takes about 4 or 5 minutes to actually do this, so it's pretty straightforward. And then these other guildies, or the other guys in the group, if they want to help me out, usually when the mobs get below 60, what they do is they'll come out and they'll just start AoE casting spells on them, and it helps burn them down pretty quickly. And after about 60% damage, or 40% damage, I tend to not be able to lose aggro from these guys. They're pretty hateful towards me, so they're relatively safe. And unless you're sitting in the path, like sitting down in the path of the mobs, before I've really solidified my aggro on them, you'll be completely safe doing so. See, I was able to really run into him pretty good. See, I don't have to worry about particle effects. I know my group guys are asking me about it. It's not a problem I really have to deal with because I got a pretty decent computer, I like to think, and I've got everything loaded on solid state. I even contemplated putting all the EQ files into my memory because I got 32 that I use for doing like virtual machines and stuff for work. But I just really haven't noticed a real big impact. I'm even recording right now like 60 frames, and I don't see any type of lag in my game. It's still relatively smooth. Alright, so my train's starting to die. Thorny Succulents is the lower HP mobs, so I switched over to some of the Stone Grazers. They're, I think, a higher level mob. So you can tell I'm starting to get XP from that group over there. His Lobby mobs that are probably green to me are starting to die. I'm getting a little bit of experience. Tighten this up. This is going to be phenomenal. I'm more than likely going to level off this alone because of my train, which is not small, but in comparison to Cantor's, it is pretty goddamn small. But I'll still get a lot of XP, depending on what level the guys in my group. If they're lower level than me, then they're definitely going to get a level off this. I had a group of 6 when I was level 20. No, I was level 36 or so, I think. 36. And I had 3 guys that were level 29, and a couple that like 31, 32 to be full group. And they were getting about 120 to 130% of a level every single pull. So I ended up doing like 8 or 9 pulls with it before I logged off for the night. But essentially everybody that started out around 29 or so were pushing 40 by the time we got done for the night. It was pretty crazy. So as you can tell, you make quite a few friends, get introduced to some people that I normally wouldn't be. Alright, so the other guys are starting to help me out with my train. They're starting to assist me kill. This is pretty straightforward. It's simple. Doesn't take a whole lot of effort. You just gotta be mindful of the other people in the zone, and make sure you don't, one train anybody, steal anybody's mobs, or hurt anybody's feelings. Not too bad. What level is this guy? Cantor. Red to me? Of course he is. Alright, so that's pretty much it. And then you just rinse and repeat. With 2 bards in your group pulling like that, it's going to be pretty damn effective. You just loot them. Pretty good experience, or really good experience. Really good money too. Especially if you're doing this by yourself, you loot everything. It's pretty amazing. So if you're on red, I encourage you to play red. Mostly because of the fact that the PvP and EQ is awesome. You got some douchebags out there, but I mean, you just get over the fact they got them on blue, they got them on red. But think about red servers. If you run into a douchebag, you can kill them. So that's Quom. I'm signing off. You have a good one.